Now, getting into the topic of this video specifically, the title says, are you going to be a person that lets this crisis ruin their lives? Are you going to be that person that lets everything in the world happen to them? They're going to blame everything else on just the overall situation that they were born into? Or are you going to be the very small percentage of people that takes advantage of this new environment we are entering into and learns from it and adapts to it and actually becomes a better version of yourself in the end of the road? Because this is, like I mentioned, a climate and an environment that we have never seen before. We do not know what is going to happen in 20 years. As much as we like to think that we can get pretty close at guessing, I personally believe that it will be so far out of reach from our minds that we do not know where the world is going to be in 20 years. So are you going to be the person that just sits back and lets everything bad happen to them and they blame everyone else for their issues? Or are you going to be the person that takes initiative, builds yourself up every single day, learns every single day, and adapts every single day to make this opportunity just really change your life? Maybe they just want to be more fulfilled with their life. Maybe they just want to be happier when they wake up every single day. And that's what I want to build this channel based off of. So some videos will result in me talking about fitness, which I'm really passionate in bodybuilding and the gym in general. So that is going to be a major topic. I'm also really interested in finances and the world and just how it overall runs. I'm majoring in finance in college currently, and it's always been a passion of mine. So that will be a topic that is also talked about on this channel quite a bit, because I believe that finances and fitness are essentially the two things that people in today's world really struggle with the most. And I believe that it would be hard to find other topics that people really struggle with that does not relate to one of those things in some way, shape, or form. So that is my introduction. This is my channel, and let's get straight into this video. As you might have seen from the title of this video, we are entering into a period of crisis. A lot of people are calling it a crisis. A lot of people my age are calling it a crisis specifically, where people older than me or other generations, like people that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, they think that we are over exaggerating. Now, I, based on my age, am in Gen Z, and a lot of us get a bad rap for that just because we are quote unquote younger than everyone else and we are inexperienced. But I think there's a lot of us that really have a firm grasp on the world as it is right now and kind of the overall climate we are entering into in terms of just an overall job market, financial market, all that stuff. I think that Gen Z actually have a better grasp on where we are headed in the future than a lot of these other generations. But talking about the title of this video specifically, I want to bring up how important it is that you differentiate yourself now. You need to figure out today if you are going to be the person that just sits along while this crisis happens and lets everything happen to you and you no longer are happening to it. You are going to be the person that just lets this crisis ruin your life. You never achieve anything. And overall, you look back on your life in 30 years and you realize that you could have made a difference 30 years ago, or you could have made a difference today that changes your life forever. I know I mentioned a lot about the new climate we are entering into, the new environment we are entering into, and I could not mention that without talking about the job market. So many people nowadays hear everyone talking about the job market. They think that it's strong. They think that it's weak. They think that AI is going to take their jobs. They think that AI is going to help us do our jobs. There's a million different perspectives on it. And honestly, I think the perspective that is the most accurate based on what is going to happen in the near future in the job market are going to come from people in our generation, people in Gen Z who are actively looking for entry-level positions while the growth of AI is continuously replacing a lot of those entry-level positions. I think that anyone who is 30 or 40 or 50 and have been in their careers for decades by now, anyone in that position that has an opinion on the job market is wrong, because the job market that they entered into 20 or 30 or even 40 years ago is exponentially different than the job market that people our age are trying to enter into, while there is a technology that no one has ever seen at this capacity that is actively making it easier to replace entry-level jobs. I think that a lot of people are underplaying the ability of artificial intelligence to replace entry-level jobs. If you actually think about entry-level jobs as a whole, they are all busy work positions. They are all very easy. They're usually monotonous tasks. They're usually operational. You're just supporting other people. You are sending emails. You're listening in on meetings. You are making a spreadsheet. You are making a PowerPoint. You are helping a marketing campaign. In the end of the day, a lot of these entry-level positions are just supporting roles for people that are higher up in the company or in the place that you are trying to work. So, we have all seen how good artificial intelligence is at helping people do stuff. So why do people think, or why do you think, that artificial intelligence in the next 2 years even is not going to replace 80 to 90% of those supporting roles? Anyone that thinks that AI has not been growing at such an exponential rate that it will be able to do all of those tasks very easily by probably 2027, 2026, 2028 is delusional. You need to do what you can today to change your viewpoint, and you need to make it so you cannot be replaced. That is going to be the most important thing if that is something you want to do. If you want to enter the job market and you want to work for these companies, you need to make it so you cannot be replaced by something that does not exist and is simply there to support other people. You need to show everyone else that you are able to support, you are able to grow, and you are actually a worthwhile investment for these companies to make. Because I think a lot of people forget that these entry-level positions are simply investments. It is a company that is making an investment in a young college grad or a young adult, and they are hoping to invest and gain a return on that investment from this individual sticking with the company as long as possible and growing with the company and helping the company grow alongside it. It is a business in the end of the day. A job is not so much a personal thing where you're buddies with the hiring manager. It is also a business strategy. You have to look at why do jobs, or why are there always more jobs and more availability in jobs when the market is trying to grow, when interest rates are down and companies can borrow money easier. Why are they hiring more? It's because it is an investment. If they are able to get money for cheaper from banks, then they are able to get a better return on that money by investing it in individuals, in workers. However, when interest rates are high, it is harder for them to gain back that investment on individuals. And that is why we are seeing, honestly, a lot of these job markets slow down, because we are at kind of a perpetual state of somewhat high interest rates with a state of inflation that is not as low as the federal government or the Fed would want it. And so this sustained level of somewhat high interest rates is making it so companies are no longer looking for more people to hire, because in a growing economy where AI might become so good that it can replace a lot of these costs, and in an economy that it is now more expensive to invest money in new hires, in new entry-level positions, you are running into a double whammy of sorts where new college grads specifically cannot find jobs. I personally, from my own experience, have applied to hundreds, if not probably 1,000 jobs at this point, and I have only received multiple interview offers from probably 2 of those job applications. And as much as I like to say I could have done more in college, I am not someone that is not a good candidate, I guess you could say. I have an extremely good GPA. I have a lot of work experience. I am a bright individual, I like to think. So why are we entering into a job market where I can apply for 1,000 jobs and get 2 interviews? That is something that anyone my age needs to come to terms with immediately. If you are younger than me and maybe you're going into college, or you're in the early stages of college, or even high school right now, you need to realize how bad that this is getting. And that way you can adjust and make a change as soon as possible, because it is not going to get easier anytime soon. Artificial intelligence will take a lot of these jobs because it is so cheap for companies to have this artificial intelligence replace that supporting role and help these higher end workers gain more investment or more return on the investment. So that is my first point. The job market in general is probably as bad as a lot of people have ever seen it. And it's getting masked by the fact that the economy in general is actually growing in terms of the stock market. The stock market is growing exponentially. It's growing so much that people are diminishing how bad the job market is. They think that it's not even true. They think the job market's just a little slow right now, when in reality it's extremely slow, and people aren't realizing it because we are not in a recession, or we are not having a major financial crisis like we did in 2008. If you remember correctly, in 2008, when the housing market crashed and everyone was losing their jobs, the entire economy slipped down as well. So it was very easy to tell that the job market was bad, the economy was bad, everything was going bad, so it made everything seem worse. Whereas if you actually look at the numbers, right now is the worst unemployment rates for new college grads that we have ever seen. We have never seen this poorly of unemployment rates for new college grads. Let that sink in for a minute. We are going to realize that this is essentially a mix of a very bad job market being masked by a very inflated financial market. You see the S&P 500 and all the stocks doing very well, aside from what has happened with recent war conflicts, which I won't get into in this video. But overall, the stock market's doing very well. But if you actually look at the numbers, over 90% of the growth in the stock market in most recent years is from the 7 biggest companies in the United States. And interestingly enough, those 7 biggest companies in the United States are all heavily invested in artificial intelligence. So we are seeing a mix of artificial intelligence making the job market worse, while artificial intelligence is also propping up the financial market and the stock markets to make it so you cannot tell how bad the job market is. This is essentially the background of what this crisis is going to become. In the next few years, we will eventually call it a crisis. I'm very confident in that. And if you do not see it now, you will see it in a few years. But the point of this video is, how do you become the person that does not let this crisis alter your life in a major way? How do you not blame other people for your problems? How do you take initiative? And how do you change your life during this crisis? The first thing I want you to do is ask yourself this question. Are you someone that is constantly thinking about different ways they can do things? Are you someone that cannot really focus on just one path? If you are someone that is content with just working out every week and that's kind of the only thing you do, or if you're someone that's really good in school and you really like doing the one thing you do in school and that's kind of it, that's kind of the only portion of your life you're really good at, then I'm sorry to say, but you might be the person that lets everything get ruined. You need to adapt so much that it becomes unreasonable for you to get replaced. In this upcoming crisis that we are going to see, the people that cannot just stick to one thing, the people that work so hard in multiple different aspects of their life are going to be the ones that succeed. The people that work hard in school or work hard at work, get a proper amount of sleep, work hard on their fitness, maybe work on a side hustle, like build relationships with other people, build brands or build companies that they can actually say that they own. All these things need to be in your life essentially. It doesn't have to be specifically all those things I listed, but it has to be in that same fashion of just relentless, constant work towards building yourself up, whether that be emotionally, whether that be physically, or just in your overall intelligence. If you are someone that constantly cannot sit still with how they are today, you will make incredible progress during this time, because that is what's going to set you aside. If you are someone that can really build a million different portions of your life and just eventually just keep putting in that work day and night and every single day and night, you will be the one to succeed, because that is something that so many people in our generation, even in older generations, are lacking. The people in these older generations got away with it because everything was cheaper, buying the house was easier, the income, all that stuff was easier for them. As much as they don't like to think it, it was way easier for them to get a job out of college. It was way easier for them to afford a house as soon as possible. It was way easier for them to put money aside for their kids' college tuitions. It was way easier for them to buy new things if they wanted. And yet, they are the ones that say that we are just complaining. I'm telling you right now, if you can actually differentiate yourself and put in that relentless work on yourself in multiple different aspects of your life, do not just focus on one aspect of your life and put your full effort towards it. I need you to put your full effort towards all these aspects in your life that you are interested in, and you will make it through this crisis. That is probably the easiest way I can explain it. This is something that is new territory for me, new territory for everyone, but the best way I can think to make it out from this dark tunnel we are about to enter into is to work so hard that, like I mentioned earlier, it just doesn't make sense for you to fail. If you take responsibility for your actions, understand that you need to work harder, you need to progress in your life constantly, or else you are going to get left behind, then it only makes sense that you are going to be the one that actually makes it through the other side of the tunnel. Whereas the people that don't do that are going to go halfway through that dark tunnel, sit down on their ass, and just give up. The people that start into this crisis and they don't have the motivation, they don't build themselves up, they don't push themselves, they will give up halfway through this crisis, and they are going to blame everyone else as everyone else is running past them towards the end of it and out to the other side where the light shines again. And so I know I did a lot of rambling in this video, and if anything I said resonated with you at all, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'd be more than happy to reach out or respond to any comments that I receive. But just let me know what your perspective is on this upcoming crisis, whether that be the job market, the financial situation that our generation is going to be in, or just anything else you're interested in. I'd be more than happy to hear that. And if you enjoyed today's video, feel free to hit that like button and subscribe, because this channel will grow. I'm so determined to build a community based on people that are a little different than everyone else. Don't be the same. Make people remember your name. Don't let other people just forget about you, and take initiative in your life. I want to build a community that takes initiative for their own lives, that builds their own lives so consistently and so continuously that we will all make it through the other side of whatever happens in our lives. So feel free to hit that subscribe button, tune in for future videos, keep grinding every single day, and like I mentioned, make people remember your name. Peace out, guys. I'll see you in the next one.